Here's a live view at Panama City Beach this evening where red flags are flying again days after several deaths. I'm Kinsley Centers. Thank you for joining us today for News 4 at 5. All of those deaths were swimmers who went into the Gulf of Mexico. That's raising questions about beach safety and if more lifeguards are needed. News 4's daytime anchor Bayla Walker joins us now. So, Bayla, what have officials said?
Yeah, Kinsley, it's something that we have all been watching. The city officials and safety director Daryl Paul says 2 of those drownings happened near Sharky's. Officials say lifeguards, they were patrolling the area when tragedy struck. From June 16th to June 22nd, lifeguards in that area stayed busy. Reports show Beach Patrol advised over 38,000 people about the rip currents, flag system, and general beach safety. They made 6 rescues, Kinsley 15 public assists, and took almost 21,000 preventative actions. That's when a lifeguard initiates an action to prevent a public assist. They also answered 25 calls of service. In light of these events, the big question is, will Panama City be willing to spend more money on guarding their beaches?
Well, you know, I understand beach safety is extremely important to us, but we have to spend money, we have to find the money where it is. And so we have to think innovatively about where we can get money. And so sometimes public-private partnerships are the best way to find that.
And that public-private partnership was initiated back in 2021, asking beachfront businesses to front some of the money for more lifeguards. But since that program started, only one business, Boardwalk Beach Resort, has chipped in. So for now, beach safety officials say they're doing the best that they can with what they have.